Hello, so welcome to our seventh session, and this is about the backgrounds or the environments. Well, I hope you have run through this, or if you are about to run through it, the backgrounds or the environments is where the story is happening. So whenever you see an animation scene, it answers the where. Where is the scene happening? Or questions such as where is the character? Or sometimes it also answers where did you find that Easter egg or secret images or messages being sent to us by animators or writers. So that's how important the background is. It's really an important part of the visual storytelling. So as you can see, some technicalities here to explain to you. The file size that we are working on is 1920 by 1080 pixels. So that means this is not measured in inches. This is measured in pixels. So it is saying that the width is 1920 or 1920 pixels in width and 1080 pixels in height. If you are to convert that into inches, you can do this simple solution. I'll run my calculator here. Because I have mentioned here, this is an important piece of info, the 72 dpi. So in film, even in animation, the files or images that you see has this resolution or the amount of pixels that they have per square inch. So that's what the I stands for. Dots per inch or pixels per inch. So this means 1 square inch or 1 inch is 72 dpi. So to find out, if you are just wondering, if to find out how much this will be in inches, so it's easy as dividing it, 1920, divide it by 72 dpi, and the answer is 26 inches or 27 if you will round it up. So this means that's how long, or sorry, that's how wide huh, this image is. And if I am to, so it's 26 inches wide. So if I am to divide the 1080 pixels again into 72, I will have a 15-inch amount as a result. So as you can see here, if you will review it, the width is 26 or 27 inches and the width or the height is 15 inches. So this means if the screen size is within this, or for example, I think this is already a laptop, or I'm sorry, a medium TV size. So when you play it, when you play the animation there at this size of a screen, then that means it will not be pixelated. So that's the meaning or importance also of your image size. So that's what the again another tip, the size here is based also on screen sizes. You can research on that later. Okay, so now you know how to figure out these amounts into inches. You just divide them by 72, the answer is in inches. Okay, so let me close this. So that's how important it is. Now, what is the ideal size of a background? The ideal size of a background class, now I'm showing you here, this is your actual file size. Yes, so remember that. The file size is 1920 by 1080. Okay? But that doesn't mean it cannot or you cannot fit in a bigger background size. It is ideal that you use 2 times of its height and 2 times of its width. So I'm not saying here, this is just an example. This 380 is the 1920 times 2. But for example, if you have different monitor sizes, then you can still multiply that, both width and height. You can multiply them by 2 so that you can have a bigger background. But why do you need a bigger background? Okay? But remember that tip. It is always ideal to have a bigger background than the file size. But why? The answer is this. Not only the characters can be animated, but also your background. If you have a bigger background, you can perform animations for the backgrounds themselves. As you can see here, sorry if it is lagging, but if you have seen it on your page, on your laptops or gadgets, you will see that this animation is, that this background is animating. Aside from the streak of lights, it is also panning there. So with bigger backgrounds, see, now it's a bit faster. With bigger backgrounds, you can perform background animations that simulate camera movement. This is an example of a camera pan. It's like you're panning or you're moving the camera horizontally. So with a bigger background, you can do that. Another is the tilt. That is another movement of camera. But the tilt has a different direction. It's vertical. So it's either the camera is looking down or looking up. So that is your camera tilt, the vertical movement of a camera. Again, see, since the background is big than the size of this, this is the screen size for this file. So it is obviously bigger even in height. That's why the animation is still possible. See? Next is also another camera movement. They call this the Dutch angle or sometimes the Dutch tilt. But the difference here is it is going on a diagonal direction. So they call that the Dutch angle. See? So that is also a type of camera movement. Those things, again, are possible if you have a bigger background size than your file size. And then next, where do we create the background? Ideally, in the animation studios, it is still ideal to work with Photoshop because of the layers and because it is transferable or easy to export in Harmony. Okay? There are also other softwares such as Illustrator, Painter, and even Paint Tool SAI. You can use this because of the layering functions and because the backgrounds that you will produce here can also be exported directly to Toon Boom Harmony, the ones that we are using with the animation of the character right now. Okay, so you can use this aside from the others because the files, as long as you can use other unmentioned, for example, if I didn't mention Manga Studio, if you're using that, as long as you can export the file that you created from there, as long as you export it as a generic file such as JPEG or PNGs, it can easily be read by Toon Boom Harmony. Now, I chose Photoshop mainly because I can import a Photoshop document into the scene. So that's how friendly the procedure can be, especially if you are a lot more familiarized with Photoshop. Okay, so I hope you got this session 7 clear, and if ever you have any questions later on, we can discuss them in our meeting. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy the session.